it's not just a selection that's very important to students and youth, but elections for municipal politics, provincial politics, and federal government as well. And that's why we're really excited to have two students here today from political clubs at Brock University. We have Cole Walsh representing the Brock Young Liberals and Aidan Walmsley representing the Brock Campus Conservatives. And we'd love to go through a bit of a panel discussion to help students learn more about what does it mean to get involved and be part of a party, and what can they do to take the next step and make a difference. So we want to start off by asking if you could describe your political clubs, your views and goals in under 1 minute. And we'll start with you, Aidan.
Perfect. Thank you for the question. So the Brock Campus Conservatives are the obviously conservative club on campus. We like to promote progressive conservative views such as freedom of speech, lower taxes, ethical government behavior, and obviously free markets. We like to promote open discussion between all of our members through our weekly meetings. It's a great way to get engaged with the club here. We create and promote conservative content through our weekly podcast conversations. Allows a varied amount of viewpoints to kind of be expressed through all of our members, and allows the Brock community to get engaged with the club as well. We like to promote the acts and obviously the ideology of the progressive conservative provincial government. And when the time comes, we like to promote voting of all Brock members, not just conservatives, and aid in the campaigning of the PC party.
Awesome. Thank you, Aidan. Cole, what's Brock Young Liberals all about?
Well, thank you, Hope. My name is Cole. I'm the president of the Brock Young Liberals. Basically, as a club, we like to promote liberal values to students on campus. We represent the federal Liberal Party of Canada, as well as the provincial Liberal Party in Ontario for our campus. I stick a little bit more to the federal side of things, as that's what's, I think, a little bit more pressing at this moment. But we're open to members of all interests and perspectives. But the Liberal Party is committed to the pursuit of equality of opportunity for all persons, the enhancement of our unique and diverse cultural community, and the recognition that English and French are the official languages of Canada, as well as the promotion of the Canadian identity in a global society. So obviously there's a lot of issues that encompass that. Obviously we believe as a party that climate change, for example, is man-made and needs to be tackled immediately. Certain issues in terms of freedoms of the individual, as I just said, the pursuit of equality of opportunity for all persons, whether you are born here or not. One of my favorite quotes was a mayor out west. I can't remember his name exactly, and I'm going to paraphrase, but he says, Canadians are born all around the world. They just don't know it yet, and it's so true. In Canada, we try to foster as a party as well, an environment where people from all over who are Canadians will come to Canada, they'll move here, immigrate here, and we foster that open society. So if anybody is interested in politics, in governance, in the pursuit of common goals from the Liberal Party, you can always reach out to me. My email is colewalsh@hotmail.com, and we'll get you set up. We have weekly meetings, same as the Campus Conservatives, where we like to get together, voice our opinions and ideas, and see what we can do to help out the party federally and provincially, as well as our two federal members of Parliament in Niagara, Vance Badaway in Niagara Centre and Chris Biddle in St. Catharines.
Thanks, Cole. And we will make sure to add the websites and social media links for both clubs when this is posted so students can learn more. So as I'm sure you both know, youth have been the lowest voting bloc historically. The last election, we did see a bigger increase, but still not quite where it needs to be. Can you tell us what the importance is for young people to vote? And we'll start with Cole.
Sure. So obviously, voting is very important. It's your civic responsibility as citizens to ensure that you have a say in the process. That we are electing community leaders who will, champion our issues and take to Ottawa or to Queen's Park, our again, our issues, the things that we want changed. And so it's super important to ensure that we're voting, especially youth, because now we make up the majority voting bloc. So, if we were all to get engaged, if we were all to go vote, the politicians would listen to us. The parties would listen to us, because again, we are that largest voting bloc. If we all came out, we could get a lot of good things done for the students. And I mean, we've seen the work that happens when students do vote, and when they do get involved and active in politics. I mean, you look just, for example, at some of the advocacy groups that students are involved in. They've made major changes in provincial governments, for example, for university students, and at the federal level when it comes to our student loans and the grants that we get and stuff like that. So it's very important.
Thank you, Cole. Aiden?
For sure. I'd actually really like to echo what Cole said there. With our generation being the next generation, the youth having a significant impact on some of the policies and the prescriptions that are made within the provincial or the federal governments. I think it's really, really important that we have our youth be able to represent what we would like in the, what we like, obviously to be prescribed, or what we'd like to be enacted. I think a lot of the older generation, more seniority generation, is the significant portion of those individuals represent a greater portion of the population that actually vote rather than our youth. And I think with us becoming a more prevalent force, especially in politics, I think it's important that we have a proportionate representation upon our views. And especially, sometimes there's a bit of a clashing ideology between more senior generation and the current generation. So I think by being able to have a very equal perspective, I think we can make a big difference in provincial and federal governments.
Thank you for that. It is so important. We go back to Assad's presentation, what we learned about BUSU and how it works. We know you both as being involved with clubs, you've been involved with BUSU before. So can you speak to how important it is to vote in the BUSU election coming up in a couple of weeks from now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's really, really important to vote in the BUSU elections. Like Assad said, we have various new additions to the platforms as well. I think what's important about this is that students, one of the best things about university is we're able to get involved. You're able to build up your resume. You're really become into your own person while you're in university. And I think the opportunities that a university enables you to have is really in large part to the Brockton University Student Union. A lot of the opportunities that they allow us with, whether that be funding or the way that the platforms allow these different clubs to operate. I think it's important to have an individual who represents what you would like to see in the university, and also represents a lot of your ideology or your viewpoints upon how you think the university should operate going forward. So I think being able to not only just select an individual you like for each of those positions, but also promote them and stand by their side and explain to other people, obviously in a respectful manner, as to why you think that their platform is the optimal platform to go with.
Thanks, Aiden. And Cole?
And that's the the foundation of 2020, 2021, talking when you're on mute. So anyway, I'll kind of reiterate what Aiden said. He kind of nailed it. It's super important to vote in these BUSU elections, because these are the people that are going to represent you. As students, when they're sitting around the table with university administration, when they're talking to other governments like the city of Thorold, the city of St. Catharines, the provincial government, the federal government. These are the people who are going to champion your issues, who are using and distributing your dollars, your funding to different programs throughout Brock and stuff to help you get involved. So it's super important to not only get involved and vote, but to be active, right? To learn about all the different candidates, find out who best aligns with your views or what you think needs to happen or change within Brock, and support.
Thank you. And you both did note on how important it is to do your research into the candidates, see how your views align with theirs, and get involved and do more than just vote if you can and if you're willing. So that being said, what do you look for in a political candidate, either at provincial and federal levels and at the BUSU level as well? And we'll start with Cole.
Sure. So, the way Canada's electoral system works, obviously, we elect, at least in the provincial and the federal level, we elect members who will then go to Queen's Park or go to the House of Commons to represent us. We don't directly vote for the leadership or anything like that. But so, what I look for in a candidate is someone who understands the community's needs, someone who understands exactly what the people are looking for, whether it's, for example, here in the Niagara region, whether it's fighting for, a better use of our canalway system, whether it's, funding dollars for our community organizations, stuff like that. Candidates who are really connected to the ground level community work, because, the stuff that happens at the top, while that's what we hear about on the nightly news cycle, it rarely affects our day-to-day lives and the stuff that happens in our communities. And so that's why it's so important to ensure that you're researching and you're supporting someone who gets what's happening in your community. On a BUSU level, I think it's super important to elect candidates or support candidates that understand the issues of students. It's the same idea on a different level, right? So candidates who have realistic goals, candidates who have, platform points or plans that are achievable, that actually connect with what the students want. I understand there's quite a few candidates in this election running on platforms of, helping out with transit issues. Obviously this year not a big deal because we're not on campus, but in the future we're going to have to go back to that time where it's like, okay, well, the students who are living in the Winterberry area have very limited busing, and so that's something, for those people living in that area, you might want to check out which candidates are going to be, looking to get those problems fixed. So just people who are dialed in with the issues.
Really great points, Cole. Aiden?
For sure. So I think when selecting a candidate, you really need to look at that they have the optimal dichotomy between either personality traits and also technical skills. I think to make sure that they have those technical skills, you want to make sure you're electing someone who has previous experience in the field. They're passionate about what they're doing, and they're obviously in it for the right reasons. For personality traits, I think you're going to want to have someone who's well-mannered, they're respectful when they're presenting their viewpoints. Obviously, it can become a little bit heated when you have these different topics or these different debates, especially with different ideologies. So I think having someone who's respectful, especially under pressure, is a hugely important aspect about having a candidate. I think having someone who's able to express their viewpoints well and also kind of do a little bit of research as to maybe what previous platforms have done and have a thorough understanding of where they want their platform to go. I think this is obviously important for the BUSU elections, but this can also be echoed towards the provincial government as well and the federal government. We see all the time, some of the most successful candidates often are very, very charismatic in the way that they speak, and they also have the technical skills to back that. So I think when selecting a candidate, obviously, it's great to support your friends. It's great to support people in your group, but you're going to want to make sure that you have someone who encompasses all of those capabilities in one and can represent the best interests of the student body.
Thank you. Those are really great points. And we only have, I believe, about a week and a day to learn more about our candidates and vote. So to all those watching, I'd really encourage you to visit the Brock website, learn about your candidates, follow them on social media, and just be ready to vote from February 9th to 11th. So you both raised really great points a little while back about the importance of getting involved in the BUSU election to support the candidate that you want to win ultimately. So I'm wondering, how can people get involved at the provincial and federal and even municipal level from your both parties or from other experience? And we'll start with you, Aiden.
For sure. I think right now, especially with the current political climate, social media is one of the best ways you can get involved. Going through different Facebook groups, Twitter groups, you're able to look through, and I think you're really able to get involved with what's going on. And what you should do is, if you follow a particular ideology, or even if you don't kind of prescribe to a particular side of the aisle, you can just look to a specific candidate that you really align with. And from there, you can kind of follow what their platform is. You can stay up to date. You can even encourage them. I think one of the best ways is sharing their political platform from a digital medium with people in your specific circle, kind of spreading awareness about what they're doing. Another great way, if you want to get more involved with BUSU, I see oftentimes people are representing the individual they're going to be presenting or they're going to be voting for. They often kind of project that upon their social media platforms. So what they're able to do is they're able to spread that person's mission and that person's statements around. From a federal perspective, I think one of the best ways is if you're new to politics, there's a lot of great podcasts or even like liberal or conservative media out there that allows you to get a very diversified perspective upon what's going on in elections. So I think having a diversified perspective upon both sides of the aisle allows you to make the best and most informed pick.
Awesome. Thank you, Aiden. Cole?
Yeah, I think there's lots of opportunity to get involved. I mean, the biggest opportunity that you have to get involved in politics is through volunteer work. So I know that most major parties and the Liberal Party especially have sections on their website where you can sign up to volunteer, you can sign up to get involved with your local riding association. And that's where it really all starts, is that grassroots community organizing and getting candidates elected that represent our values, right? So it kind of ties into what do you look for in a candidate as well, because whereas I'm a liberal because I believe I align with the Liberal Party of Canada and the Liberal Party of Ontario's views and values. Some people may have a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and that's totally okay. But you have to find then a candidate that you can support, no matter what party, right? So and once you find that candidate, get involved with that local riding association. Maybe you can in normal times we would be door knocking and just getting our message out there to the people. Right now it's a lot of phone banking, which I know can intimidate some people, but it's fairly easy. If you head over to liberal.ca or the Ontario Liberal Party website, there are sections where you just fill out some basic information. You let them know where you're from, and they'll connect you right to that local riding association. So no research needed on your part. In terms of BUSU, there's always ways to get involved. I think primarily when we're in person is better times for volunteering. But now it's more or less find a candidate you believe in and just share as much of their information with your following as you possibly can. And you can do the same thing with Ontario, provincial and federal politics as well. You find a candidate you like and you spread their message to that community.
Awesome. Cole, Aiden, thank you so much. I found this to be super insightful and an awesome crash course on getting involved in politics for being a young person. Do you have any final words for students or things that you'd like them to know or advice for them moving forward?
Yeah, for sure. I would just like to thank everyone out for coming out today. And I'd like students to get involved, do your research, find out who aligns with you best, and please, please vote. It's really, really important that you get your perspective out there. And I want to make sure that your voice is heard. Take a minute to check out different either federal perspectives or liberal perspectives, conservative perspectives, whatever you feel you align with best. Make sure you check out your BUSU candidates platform and make sure you do your part as a citizen of Brock University and of Canada as well.
Yeah, I would just I would echo all those comments, and I would just add, I don't know how you're going to be able to see this, but in Canada, better is always possible. So there's always more we can do. It's important to get involved. I'll reiterate it in French. Au Canada, il est toujours possible de faire mieux. It's all better is always possible here. It's about getting involved and being a part of your community.
Great. Thank you both so much. And that concludes this part of our panel discussion.